So our next stop is at Story Moja. So we're here to get to understand who, what Story Moja is. So,
Yes.
how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How are
All
you?
right.
Yes.
So introduce yourself. Tell us who you are, what you do, and why is it just one story?
Okay, so my name is Samson, and I work with Story Moja.
Yeah.
Story Moja is a creative company that does a lot of things, including publishing. So we are mainly a publishing company. We are 17 years old now.
17 years.
17 years old.
Okay.
And we have about 600 plus titles. And on my shelf today,
On your shelf today.
we have, I'll start with that one, the one you're holding.
Yeah.
So that is Calamity of the Kasigao. This is Two Faces of Chief Odera. These books are part of a series that we call Shizu. Shizu is Story Moja historical fiction. But instead of the F, because we would have called it Shifu, we thought Z works best. So in these books, we have teenagers who time travel from the present age back to these communities. Like here, this twin Safari and Betty time travel back to 1915 to a community called the Kasigao. Have you ever heard about the Kasigao community?
Kasigao community, I've never heard.
Yeah, there's a community in the coastal part of Kenya called the Kasigao.
Yeah.
So what exactly happened
Kasigao?
to them? Kasigao community, yes.
They are part of the 42.
Unfortunately not.
Okay.
So something during the First World War, some betrayal, something involving the Europeans, the Germans and the British led to them nearly being wiped out. So that's the story where our twins here time travel from the present age back to these ages. So here they go back to Kasigao, and here they go back to Game in Siaya County to meet the formidable chief Odera Akango. He struggles to introduce education to his people without the help of the white man and without the help of his people. Just getting to see, does he succeed? So these are two of them.
Yeah.
There's one called Princess Njinga, Bane of the Portuguese. Also involves the time traveling. We have our banner here, which has most of them. That is sold out for the moment. And then we have Zulu, Kingmaker, Queen Mkabai. Away from that, we also have this series, which is called our Sudef Wildlife Detective series. And we have with us, we have the three titles. Sudef.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
You guys do quite some work on the titles. Eh?
Yeah, we do. This is Story Moja detective fiction.
Yeah.
What is Story Moja in full? What is Sudef in full? Detective fiction, yeah? Yeah, Story Moja Uhusiano detective fiction. So in these books, we have a team of teenagers who team up as detectives to solve crimes against wildlife. So like in this book, they team up with Vaati, Kule Ukambani to solve the case of the persecuted pangolins. Pangolins are the most trafficked mammals in the world.
But then I hear that, but I wonder why?
Why? Because
what is it about that pangolin?
Their scales, naona venye watu wakiwa leather belt, it's quite something.
Yeah.
Now the scales of the pangolins, and also in Asia, they're mostly used for medicinal value. Yeah, so they are really very, very much trafficked. Then we have the panther of the Aberdare region. Did you know we have black panthers in Kenya?
Black Panther?
Yeah, we do.
Other than the film?
Now, other than the film, we have real black panthers.
No.
So we have here a team of teenage detectives who go to the Aberdare region there and realize that the panthers there are quite something. They're facing something. They try to locate the suspects, try to solve the puzzles. And then we also have the same for the case of the targeted turtles along the beaches of the Kenyan coast. So the characters you meet in this book, you'll meet them here. It's a series, not a continuous story, but the same characters, only that different...
It's a CSI sort of a...
Yeah. Different characters are different leads in every single nini as you go. So for that one, we have the Swahili version of the Turtles.
Oh.
Yeah, it's the same one. These books are mostly recommended for teenagers. This
and that was going to be my next question, because what I've realized that even from these ones, when you started, a through line was teenagers.
Yes, teenagers. Actually, twin teenagers.
Twin teenagers.
Yes, we want them to see themselves as they read, because they get to learn this history. We've been taught history a lot tumefunzwa vitu nyingi, but now we want them to experience the history as they time travel with these teenagers. We want them to be in the shoes of the teenagers as they experience that history all through. Yes. So we do have these readers. We also have class readers. We have course books.
When you say class readers, what do you mean by class readers?
Class readers are government recommended books to be read. Before we used to have set books.
Set books.
But now, because the introduction of junior secondary, they are required not to have read set books, but there's a group of there's a select group of books that are supposed to have read that will be examined, that will be assessed.
Oh, sort of what set books are in high school.
Yeah, sort of. Only that there's not one single thing. So for that, this is one of the other things that I think as Story Moja we stand out for, also away from the stories. We have the reading diary. We have my reading diary level 1, 2, 3, 4. And with this, we're able to track that you're reading and to make sure that the books are having value to the reader. They're reading to understand, because they'll have to have read. You read, they come right down the summary, they come right down who the main characters were, they identify the characters in the story, their characteristics. It's just basically helping them understand the books that they're reading, their formats, and to appreciate them. And also encourages them to read more books, because when you buy this one, you can use it for several stories.
And they're very colorful.
Yes, they are.
They're very colorful. I think one of the things I really appreciate about them is that the color. Because I think when I was in school,
Yes.
those days, I don't think I made this much color in especially in the school examinable books.
Yes.
Which is such a very good thing. But I've picked a very keen interest on these ones.
Yes.
And you've said they are fiction.
Yes, they are fictional.
Based on real places.
Based on their factual happenings. But now the fictional part is where we involve the time traveling, and now the community getting to interact with our teenagers who have come from the 21st century.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've not interfered with the history. Actually, the reason why we have published this series is down there at the back. There's something Chinua Achebe says, that until the lion learns to tell the story of the hunt, it will always glorify the hunter.
Yeah.
Our African stories have been told most times by someone else.
Yes.
And Africa in that way has been marginalized in the books of history, you see. So what if we told our own stories in our own voices? Let me challenge you a bit. Kuna kitu nito Nyika Plateau.
Yes.
You've heard about it, read about it. Generations of people who have gone to school have read about it.
Yes.
Where is Nyika Plateau?
In Ukambani somewhere.
That's what we were taught.
Yes.
But there's no Nyika Plateau anywhere, at least in East or Central Africa. The only thing that is closer to Nyika Plateau is found at the borders of Malawi and Zambia. That is nearly Nyika. So, for example, who wrote that history for us to read? And what more has been written for us to read in that essence, especially about our struggle for independence, about our values as Africans, and about our actual stories, especially in the struggle for independence and how modernity was introduced to us. Like in this, we get to get the perspective of education as it was introduced, the struggle for Africans to accept it, the resistance both from the Africans and from the white man. Because in this book, for example, Chief Odera becomes the first a black guy to imprison a white. And later on, he's taken away to Syokimau somewhere here. He's jailed. And up to date, no one knows anything about where Chief Odera Kangwe is. But without him, the very groundwork for education in Kenya and East and Central Africa would have been a little bit shaky. In Sia, they say, Be careful when you're throwing a stone because you might just hit a professor's head.
Yes, in game.
Yes, in game.
Yes.
Because they're professors per square meter. You see, this
Yes.
is the man responsible for that force.
But then there are very many professors in game.
Yes. Or at least there were. Today, people do not take academics that seriously.
But now, when you look at this in retrospect,
Yeah.
how much are young people open to internalizing this for purposes of reason and knowledge sharing?
Now, we didn't just focus on the history because history is boring. Actually, history is very boring, especially for a young person who has no interest in it. So, we have created other aspects that help them travel through that history. First of all, before these teenagers time travel, they had a life in their respective places. Like in this case, this book is as recent as coronavirus. This is Safari and Betty. During the corona pandemic, their parents a little clash here and there, just like most families, and also due to the retrenchment that was happening. So they are back Ushago, Ushago. Especially the boy experiencing a really tough time with the mother, feels like. So after that, when they now time travel, they get to experience even that family setup back then helps them to experience and appreciate, for example, that family that they do have, you see. So we have a lot of aspects that is joining the history. The history looks like it's just what is anchoring the story. But the plot has the interest for the reader. Yeah, I hope I'm clear on that.
Yes. Somebody wants this book. Where does he find you? Where can he get them? Yeah.
So you can order the books directly from our Story Moja e-store, Story Moja Africa e-store, or you can also find them in all leading bookshops across the country and in major cities, mainly Textbook Center. They are our main suppliers. You can also find them on eKitabu and on any other, all leading bookshops. You can find them on all leading bookshops, or you can also make a direct order using the website. Yes.
All right. But now as I leave, Sam,
yes,
on a personal level,
yes,
what is that thing you wish somebody who is watching us today would know about these two books I'm holding? And of what value would it be to them?
Something I wish they would know.
Yeah. We've spoken extensively about it, but now I'm now talking specifically to Sam. I'm now focusing on what the author has done. Now, you've read the books, you've internalized, you've seen this story, and you really wish somebody else can see it. That reader is watching us today.
For this one specifically, I think I'll just repeat something that I've told you, that Africa has been marginalized in the books of history. Someone else has always had the eagerness to tell our stories. But when you hear your story told by a voice that seems closer home, you get the perspective more. So if there is one value I get from this, is the honesty of this African storytelling, as though told by the fireplace, but in ink.
Yeah.
I love that honesty about these books, about our African origin.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Sam.
Thank you.
Remind us again of where to find you. Your website is?
www.storymojaafrica.e-store.
Check them out, and you'll find them. There's so much work. There's so much. Are there things for children?
Yeah, a lot. That is where that is our specialty. There are things for children.
Okay.
Even for those that haven't gone to school yet. Like this one, for example, is for a parent who wants to tell stories to their children This one is meant for parents to create their own cocomelons. It's actually a musical. Yeah, you can create your own tunes with your own children and sing them along.
Awesome.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Sam.
Thank
we'll
you
make
so
a point
much.
to check out your platform. And then let's hope that our viewers and listeners will find value in the titles that they're going to be.
Yes. I also want to tell them that your future is made by what you read, not what you watch, by what you read. So make sure you read. Feed yourself information. Don't be fed all the time.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.